Hi guys, today I am talking about the topic of self-sabotage. And when I refer to self-sabotage, what I'm referring to is things like self-limiting beliefs and self-defeating behaviors. And the thing is, a lot of these things are done on an unconscious level. We're not even aware that we're working against ourselves. So it's important that we become aware of ways in which we may be self-sabotaging. For example, in a relationship, if we feel that by being insecure or by not trusting our partner or by checking their phone regularly or by keeping ourselves emotionally cut off, we think that we're actually controlling the relationship or we're saving ourselves from getting hurt. Whereas actually what we're doing is we're preventing ourselves and keeping ourselves from the potential joy that the relationship can bring. Also, if we avoid difficult situations in life, if we procrastinate, if we put things off, if we soothe using food or drugs or alcohol or whatever it is that we use to avoid dealing with challenging situations and challenging conversations and emotions, that's another way in which we hold ourselves back. Likewise, imposter syndrome. Oftentimes we tell ourselves these stories about whether or not we belong in our lives or whether or not we deserve to have X, Y, and Z, whether or not we should apply for a certain job, and we can be very convincing as to why we shouldn't, why we don't deserve these things, why we don't deserve a nice life. And again, these are all very self-defeating, self-sabotaging behaviors, but they can go on at an unconscious level. And the thing is, they can feel like a security blanket. I mean, ultimately, as long as you're telling yourself that you don't deserve things, that you shouldn't do things, you're never going to have to step out of your comfort zone. You're never going to have to challenge some of your potential. And whilst it may feel safe, you're never going to live the life that you desire. You're never going to find your purpose because you're always going to play it safe and stick doing the same thing all the time. You're also going to cling on to habits that don't work for you, that are maladaptive and dysfunctional. So the first step in, I suppose, getting rid of your self-sabotaging tendencies is to become aware of them. I mean, as I said, so many of these are at a very subconscious level. So it's about identifying the ways in which you work against yourself and be very wary of the fact that we have a whole load of biases working in our mind that, I suppose, they're a way of processing the world. They keep our cognitive load low, but they can work against us at times because they tend to generalize things. And an example of this is that when something goes wrong or, kind of when relationships break up, we always tend to blame the other person. There's an element of self-preservation there as well, We never want to take the blame. We never want to take responsibility. So sometimes the whole self-awareness, the whole identification of your self-sabotage can be painful because it means looking inwards. It means examining your role in your detriment. And that can really hit the ego for six. However, once you move past that, you can then look at alternative ways of dealing with life, alternative ways of being in relationship. And again, this can take a lot of work because ultimately you have to heal the hurts that caused you to develop these coping mechanisms, these defense mechanisms. That can take a bit of time. It can also require a bit of help from an external perspective in order to guide you through it. We then learn new skills, new ways of interacting with the world, and these can be fairly difficult to maintain because ultimately you're going against the hard wiring of a lifetime. That being said, as long as you maintain self-awareness, as long as you remain conscious, and as long as you have desire and diligence and discipline, it is possible to transcend and move beyond all of the self-limitations, the self-sabotage, and the self-defeating behaviors that you have compiled over your lifespan. if this is something that you would like to work with me on, get in touch on the website. It's fundamentals.ie. You can also get more of my content on my YouTube channel. There's loads there about mental health issues, about how to move beyond your self-limiting beliefs, about how to challenge your internal critic, and ways in which you can find a more purposeful way of living beyond anxiety, beyond depression, beyond low self-worth. You'll also catch me on my podcast with Neil O'Brien. It's available on iTunes and Spotify. Go check it out. Really interesting conversations about all things mental health, all things purpose, all things connection. And you will catch me as usual on Facebook or Instagram. So let me know if there's anything I can help you with. And in the meantime, look after yourself.